Neither here nor there is in Prosser again, because it was really a cool place. Listen in the background. You will hear Espresso. He's not in pain. He's just letting me know he's not content with whatever he's got going. Desert Wind Winery is known for its structured, full-bodied wines that are reflective of the unique terroir of Eastern Washington. Handcrafted using small lots of fruit, these wines blend classic winemaking techniques and extended barrel aging to create unique food-friendly wines. They're perhaps best known for their flagship Rua. It has been praised in various wine publications, but I forgot to get a taste of this special wine. I made a reservation for a tasting and check out my table.
Oh, my name is Carolyn D, and I'm the hospitality manager of Desert Wind Winery.
There is a large indoor space at this winery. It's kind of divided into maybe 3 sections. This is the tasting room, and it is beautiful. It's adjoining a store, a shop that you can wander through, and it connects to various other parts, including an area where you can rent a large room and have your own special events. The Desert Wind Tasting Room has a beautiful wine bar, dining room with couches in front of a great fireplace. Outside on the patio are umbrellas for dog-friendly dining and wine tasting. The incredible wine flights and the opportunity to talk with the knowledgeable staff made the experience even better. They have a great lunch menu, and while I was there with my wine tasting, I noticed there were locals coming in to have lunch and a little bit of wine for themselves. Now, this winery also has a hotel.
It does, yes. So we're a mini resort, if you will. So we have 4 luxury guest suites upstairs, and we can accommodate 10 people. So one room has 2 queen beds, and the others all have king beds. Each has a balcony that overlooks the Yakima River.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, everyone has a fireplace, and it's very nice.
Okay. So how long has the winery been here?
It was built in 2007.
And are the grapes grown on its own vineyard, or do you bring in grapes from other vineyards?
It's all estate fruit, so we have a 500+ acre vineyard in the Wallach Slope. That's just 50 miles north of us. And then we have a small 2.5 acre vineyard that wraps around this property that you saw as you drove in.
That's a lot of grapes. Do you also then consign grapes out to other wineries?
Oh, yes.
Yes. That would make
No, we don't produce all the grapes we grow, no. But yeah, so we have a wide variety. I believe we're about 18 different varieties of grapes at this time.
Do you make a lot of small batches, or are there big ones that you make too? So you make, small lots, big lots, medium-sized lots?
Yes, so we do approximately 10,000 cases of our wine that goes direct to wine shops and grocery stores, wine bars, and then all the wine that is sold here in-house is for our wine club and the public. It's a different tier. It's especially for our guests that visit Desert Wind and our wine club that is a part of this big family.
This design is Adobe-ish.
It is. It kind of has a southwestern styling, but a northwest feel. We celebrate all things native. Our grapes, of course, are grown here, and the guest rooms are named after the members of the Lewis and Clark expedition. So we have the Charbonneau room. We have the Jean Baptiste room. Our Sacagawea room is the room that has the jetted tub and rain shower.
Oh, good.
And she does. And then, of course, we have our Lewis and Clark room.
This is just wonderful. I had no idea how beautiful. And the wines so far, I've only tasted 3, are very good.
Thank you.
Now, one thing that I thought was interesting, I noticed there's a door in.
Oh, yes.
Up there.
It's a utility door for our HVAC system.
Oh,
yes, so it's an access to take care of our heating and air conditioning.
I thought it was just kind of fun, especially because of the ladder, which I know isn't for climbing in there,
No.
but I believe in other stuff that I've been to, some of the native tribes, I don't know what they were, but they would have holes in the roof and the people.
Yes.
And I noticed you guys have a cooking class?
Yes, so we're very, it's all about education, food and wine and celebration, right? So we have our sophisticated cooking class that we do once a month on Saturday mornings, and people gather here and are able to have a great conversation about how to make your everyday cooking, re-inspire your kitchen, and make your everyday cooking special.
That's really cool. For a little history, in 1992, the Fries family began planting Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Syrah, and a handful of other varietals on their Desert Wind vineyard, which is a 540-acre piece of land in eastern Washington on the slope. Although red wines highlight the portfolio at Desert One, they produce a wide range of whites and other varietals, including rosés. I got to sample a couple of their Chilean wines and found them to be quite nice. The Mercer family planted the first wine grapes in the Horse Heaven Hills back in 1972 and prided themselves on growing the Cabernet Sauvignon variety.
Hi, my name is Casey Brush. I'm the assistant winemaker here at Mercer Estate Winery. The Mercers planted the first grapes in the Horse Heaven Hills ADA back in 1972. And in that ADA, we now have about 3,500 acres planted. And that's located south of Prosser, Washington, between Prosser and the Columbia River. So, like our Spice Cabinet Vineyard, for example, is located a quarter-mile north of the river. So it gets the nice, cool air coming off the river and an evening sun that makes for really nice fruit that ends up in a lot of our reserve blends.
Okay, so now you've got so many acres of grapes. There's no way you guys are just using it. Are you selling to other wineries?
For ourselves, we produce about 60 to 70,000 cases, depending on the vintage. The remainder of that fruit does get sold off to various clients, and we can do some custom crush for other wineries here as well. We did also start producing fruit seltzers, similar to like White Claw or Truly, so we have our own. There's 4 different flavors. So our first vintage produced at this facility was 2005. We currently have about 2,500 barrels here. Benefits of producing wine in southeastern Washington is we get such little rainfall that I want to say it's 6 to 9 inches per year. And that allows us to regulate exactly how much water we're giving our plants so we can better control their growth and cut off the water at the end of the season so that they focus more on getting berries right rather than growing their plants. So we still irrigate it. Yeah, it's still getting exactly as much water as it needs, but unlike some other growing regions which have a lot more natural rainfall, where the season can vary a lot more depending on if it's a wet year versus a dry year. Even wet years for us are fairly dry, so we get to much better control how the grapes are going to go, and it allows us to get a little bit more consistency vintage to vintage.
My final winery in Prosser, Washington was the Alexandria Nicole Cellars. It was great, I must admit. I'm glad I made it there. It's a very small winery. It's kind of hidden, but it was definitely worth finding. Now, this winery was started by Jared Boyle, who was born in Prosser, Washington, and worked at various jobs in the wine industry. One day, when inspecting a vineyard on Horse Heaven Hills, you've heard that name a lot, he noticed a nearby piece of barren land sloping gently to the south. It was overlooking the Columbia River. After he had a conversation with an old friend, Rob Mercer, son of the Mercer family, Rob realized that the land Jared was dreaming about was owned by his father. Please forgive the dogs. Before long, the Mercer family joined with the Boyle family and the dream of a vineyard on the hillside and Destiny Ridge Vineyard was born. The first wines were planted in the, vines. The first vines were planted in the fall of 1998. The original plan for the vineyard was to use the fruit to produce small case lots for other wineries. But when the vines started producing grapes that were fabulous, Jared decided he would make his own winery and produce wine from Destiny Ridge. That was when Alexandria Nicole Cellars was born. Alexandria Nicole Cellars offers a taste of vineyard living with their tiny houses located in the heart of their estate vineyard, Destiny Ridge, overlooking the Columbia River. Next stop, Spokane, Washington. Thanks for tolerating the animals. Thanks for tolerating my beginning skills at interviewing and capturing audio that is kind of intelligible. And I promise I will get better with each and every video. So stay tuned and see if I do.